This episode of Southeast Iowa Today is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix it, clean it, and customize it. McDonald Boatyard of Keota, Iowa, for all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. For great food, it's your choice family restaurant of Wayland, Iowa. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Try the John Bain sandwich on your next visit. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. Fred also fixes and sells snowblowers. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops. CW Tree Trimming, LLC. We're into your trees, not your wallet. Serving all of Henry County and the surrounding area, and we offer a senior citizen and veteran discount.
Iowa Technology Systems of Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Your one-stop computer tech shop. If you, someone you know, or are a business that is having trouble needing laptop, PC, or business technology help, call us today. Visit iowatechsys.com.
Save the date! It's the Junkin Sisters Shop Hop Christmas Edition, December 5th and 6th, 2025. Shop vintage finds, handmade treasures, and festive holiday decor and eats at participating shops. Check out the Junkin Sisters Shop Hop Facebook page for more details.
Dutch Market and Coffee Talk of Washington, Iowa. Dutch Market can handle all of your grocery needs. They even have a conference room that you can use for free. Coffee Talk's drive-thru is open and ready to serve you coffee, energy drinks, sandwiches, baked goods, and ice cream. They all present the award-winning Southeast Iowa Today. Here's the author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host, John Bain.
Thank you, announcer Cody Roy of NewEnglandDukes.com for your golden pipes and wonderful introduction. Today is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. I'm at the Henry County Courthouse in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. The Henry County Board of Supervisors held their weekly meeting today, and here is what was on the agenda. Approval of agenda, approval of minutes, approval of claims, County Engineer Jake Hotchkiss weekly update, motion Henry County Road Department compensation schedule, 2025 City School Elections second tier canvass of votes, ISAC request for $500 to support Amicus brief on local control, Carlos Lopez requesting financial support for legal fees, Assessor Nathan Milks family farm credits, Supervisors committees, and public comment. Henry County Deputy Carlos Lopez made a straightforward and what I believe was an honest assessment of what he and his family and fellow Henry County law enforcement have been going through. Time will tell that the county will do the right thing and make things right.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call this meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors on the 18th of November 2025 into session. First thing is to approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve with comments following.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Discussion?
Yeah, the discussion I would like to put forward with us is to reiterate how we put the agenda together. I think there must be some confusion. The agenda is created by the Board of Supervisors. Last week, I think there was some confusion. We had a public health meeting that was put on there, a subject that was not approved through the Board of Supervisors. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that anything that comes through the agenda needs to come through the Board of Supervisors to get our approval to make sure that we're ready and prepared for that. And then secondly, I had an item that was added to the agenda and removed, talking about ARPA funds with Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission. And I realized that those folks weren't able to be here, but we're talking about $4 million roughly, and I think it's important that we all understand where that $4 million went to and how it's been allocated and how it's been spent. So I'll share a spreadsheet with that later, but again, just reiterating that Board of Supervisors control the agenda, and it needs to come through us to make sure that everybody is aligned and we're prepared for the meetings. Anything from that, Mark?
No problems, and I agree. We did make a statement earlier in the year that one of the three supervisors needed to know something about what was on the agenda, so we'd be apprised to it ahead of time.
Okay.
Even though on that first item you were talking about, Steve, there was an email and I was out of town, and you were also out of town, so you were not ready for it.
Yeah, either way.
So with that, motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
We've had the motion, but we have the vote now.
Yeah.
Ready? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. We'll have our claims to look over after the meeting. Jake, you're next on the agenda, please.
Did you want to do the minutes?
Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that one. We have the minutes of November 13th, 2025 that we presented. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that with a couple of minor corrections.
Okay.
From a discussion standpoint, so one of the items was, the minutes said that we remove line item 7 from the agenda. That goes against Robert's Rules of Orders, obviously. The motion was to continue that rather than to remove it, so that we're all in sync on that. Not a huge deal, but just a minor change and a correction. And then I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Mr. Messer's name is not spelled correctly, so maybe a correction there. Is that with a Y?
Yeah.
Isn't it? I believe that's correct.
Yeah,
So,
B-R-Y-A-N.
again, a minor Scrivener change, but it might be important to him to make sure it's correct. Because I know my name gets spelled wrong all the time. Because Steve's pretty tough, but just kidding. Other than that, those are the two.
I can echo that. Mine's always changed. So with that,
Okay? Yeah.
with that correction, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Sorry, now you're up, Jake.
That's why I like your nameplates, so I can spell it right. So, first up here is a motion. The motion here would be 34-2025-20, that the Board of Supervisors approve the Henry County Road Department compensation schedule effective January 1st, 2026.
We have this motion. Who would like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve motion 34-2025-20.
We have a second?
I'll
Second discussion?
Yeah, Jake had presented us with some information on that. I can start, Jake, but I'd rather let you get into it. You obviously put this together. I think it's really good and comprehensive, and hopefully some of the other departments can take a look at this as well as they get into the compensation planning that we
Okay.
talked about. So you want to take the lead, please?
Yeah, so to be fair on this, we've always had in the road department a program when we hire new employees. There's a process to get them to be what we call fully trained. And typically that was a 2.5-year program. With the new compensation tables and pay grades that we're looking at, there we went back and revamped it because it's not necessarily, the wage tables are not set up to be that after you're fully trained, you're at the top of the wage table. So we wanted to set the structure up so that there was a process as you come in for your training, that over the first 2.5 years, as long as you hit the benchmarks that we have with our reviews, that would put you on a percentage of the wage table. And then from then on, you would be looking at some kind of longevity, or not some, but a longevity scale that would be based on 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And then with a good review, or a positive review, or maybe an exceptional review, depending on what you guys give us for directive, there would be options to have different increases for employees based on their performance. So part of that wage compensation was to look at being able to appreciate or to reward good performance. And that's kind of what we set up in here. So not a whole lot different than what we had before, other than now there is the option to look at other performance reviews that would affect your rate that you would have, instead of everybody classified at the same exact wage, if that makes sense. So we have not a lot of different fields. We have equipment 2 operators, equipment 1 operators,
got an assistant superintendent, an office manager, those job descriptions that were all laid out.
Okay.
So for the people here, this is a process that we've asked our HR person to help us with. He started this probably over a year ago. And this is the first presentation of the actual, we have of a study put together. And I will have to say that Jake has done a wonderful job taking the lead and working on this, so I fully commend what you've done on this.
Yeah, and I think the driving force for us right now is to look at when a new, we have a retirement, which we do have some coming up, is we need to know how we're bringing them into the new fold of this wage table. So for us, it's laying everything out and trying to generalize it right up front so we know what they're doing. Because this is a paper that I actually hand out when I make an offer to an employee, so they know what the parameters for their employment, what they can do to help themselves out. So every step that they would get in that 2.5 years does require a 6-month review that we sit down and do an assessment to make sure they're hitting the benchmarks that we have. And we have in the past slowed people down if they're having some issues or trouble getting there, so that we can make sure that they're moving along the right way for us.
So I think what that boils down to in real plain language is if after the training period is completed for a new operator, they will be put into not the top of that pay scale. There will be some movement room within that top to prove themselves, evaluations, everything like that, to be able to advance further up in there because you're not doing the job yet, but you're fully trained. Now prove yourself to do it, and there's room for advancement then.
Correct. Every employee has their, their good and their bad. And so what this review process is to highlight, in an area where an employee is exceptional, now we have a reason to say, hey, there is a reward for being exceptional at your job. Whereas before we were, kind of laid into, okay, and this same program will allow you to go the other way. So if you're not exceptional or you're doing a below average, then there's some restrictions there. Whereas before it was just straight program, this is what you got. What's your top scale, that's it. So I think it does always there's gonna be some learning curve and there'll be some difficulties on some decisions and everybody's gonna always agree. But it does allow us to have some feedback, and it gives every employee an option to work on it if they want to.
Good. So again, just to reiterate what Mark said, the county has not had a really good overall compensation plan formalized for forever, really, and each elected individual has had the discretion to be able to give their employees raises based on their performance, and it's been pretty random from department to department. And so again, as Mark said, through HR, our effort here is to try to create a more formalized process for compensation as we look at county employees and get a more a better routine overall, so that those individuals know where they fall within the categories. And there are a number of categories that HR has put together to help us make sure that individuals are compensated similarly to other folks within the county, or maybe throughout other counties throughout the state. So a really good start to where we're at, and it's been a while to get there. Sheriff McNamee, have you looked at what Jake has done as well?
Yes, I got a very similar policy in the works. I don't have it finished yet, but Jake and I have kind of worked together on it a little bit, and I think we're getting close to something similar.
So good format, a good plan to work together to give us
Yes.
more consistency on the compensation.
And there'll be differences each
Sure.
year. And I think that's the key here is this is a secondary roads interdepartment policy. I'm bringing that for you guys to approve because you're my direct boss. I don't know how they'll handle it for sure all the other departments, but I think this is a good groundwork for us to make sure that I know, and then whoever the successor for me is, if there's no changes to it, this is the policy that we're utilizing for the secondary roads department.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no.
So there's the motion to sign.
You
And
want
then,
to sign this one?
yeah, this one here, and then that's the one we'll hand out to everybody. Yep. Thank you. Okay. Maintenance update. Territory operators have been blading. We got a little bit of moisture last night, so we're definitely blading today.
We are also hauling some spot rock out as well. Today we were gonna start some dirt patching, patching and stuff, but we weren't able to get the oil from the DOT just because they're down right now with some stuff, so we had to change up a little bit. Last week, we were doing some spot hauling at various locations with the blades. Ditching, we finished up a ditching project on 250th Street, Green Valley. That's also the same road that we did a lot of brush cutting on, but we went in there, did some ditching, thank you. As well, we also installed a tile or an intake on 253rd Street. This would be by Oakland Mills by the dam. We had some water issues there, ponding and stuff, so conservation had reached out to us. It is actually in the road right away, so it was something that we took care of. So we went in and installed a tile that drains into water to the same spot, which is the river, but now won't wash next to the concrete by the dam. So we got that taken care of. We have some signs for various locations, again, Pete's been working on. And seating, that's pretty well wrapped up at this point. Anything that we do now is just to get it out there so it sits for the winter. But at this point, we're gonna be looking at putting that equipment away as well for the season. Miscellaneous and construction. So last week, I forgot to bring it up to you, but we've had 4 seasons in working on boring 2 tiles. These were existing tiles that are actually under the roadway that were failing. So that either means that there were suck holes or the tile was breaking up or clay. So we hired them to come in and bore two replacements out there. And in the process, they also filled the old tile in when they put the new one next to it. So one of them was at a 45-degree angle roughly. We were able to change that so we had a shorter distance where we went straight across, but we were able to get some quickcrete or the flowable that they put in to finish that up. So again, that's a maintenance item that we have to do from time to time. On gravel roads, we typically would excavate that out, but on a pavement, we try to leave the road alone if we can work underneath that side of it. So again, boring operations, I think just conversation wise, that's something we've utilized. Last year we did one on south of New London where we actually used the boring rig to actually bore a new pipe across the road, and we plugged the old one up because it was another case where we had a fire and the liner had melted. So this is an option that we've been utilizing when we can. So best way to do it is actually able to dig it up, but sometimes with the roads and everything else and costs, we try to save some money by not disturbing the traveling public if we can. Then Seneca started yesterday installing our new fuel system. So if you drive out there, you'll see a new tank sitting there. The old tanks got removed. They're installing the dispensers today and the plumbing. The electrical company's supposed to be there doing the electrical wiring. They're planning to be wrapped up by Thursday with their work. Part of the process of installing a new fuel system requires a fire marshal to come and do an inspection. The earliest that the fire marshal can come is next Tuesday morning. So we will not have fuel until at least sometime Tuesday afternoon. So then they'll come back on Tuesday afternoon and calibrate it once we get some fuel put in there. So far it's been going well. The IT side of it's went well so far. We still haven't hooked up the point to point, but they'll be working on that today and tomorrow. So.
Is that through Max or
Mark? Mark Hahn helped us get things set up, and I think there's an email chain on that. I think that you'd be included on. So he's got things kind of set up in the background, and then Max and Kevin, thank you, Max and Kevin. So Max has helped us with some connectors, and then they're there if we need support when they actually go to hook up that unit. So we won't know until we plug it in and see what happens. So, but so far that's going well.
Good. You know, and the only reason I brought it up obviously is because we're a little short on IT support, and the area county's been helping out and working with us. Max is with Van Buren and Kevin is with Lee County. So we owe them a great deal of gratitude for their support. So it's really important to us, and it's been keeping us afloat for a few months here. So it's good news. Yeah, no, on our end, it's so far, we'll know more by the end of the week, but I hope to be able to report back that everything's going great. So, but the installation's going well so far. Excellent. And then the other thing, 235th Street bridge closure. The tentative plan is still for Iowa Bridge and Culvert to close the road starting December 1st. We will have a detour in place. I have a meeting today at 10 o'clock with them for a pre-construction meeting, so I'll be going to that. I'll have more details to pass out next week, and then we'll be pushing notification out to the press and everything. We'll probably do one later this week yet with the press just to make sure we start blasting that so everybody understands that starting around that December 1st is what we're planning on. That could change depending on what happens today, but we'll have a date hopefully after today for sure that we'll start pushing out that part. And then the last thing I've got is years of service certificates. So
Each year we do it yearly typically. One of the things that we're gonna probably start switching up is to do it quarterly, so that they're not so far back or be so far behind. We used to just do it at the end of the year, but I do have a 5-year and a 20-year. So I have 5 years of service from Jeff Sloan that I'd like you guys, the chairman, to sign. And then Mark Scholl has 20 years of service.
Wow. Congratulations, right?
So typically we would hand those out in December when we have our safety meeting, and just like to do that recognition, so. And then one other thing I had, RISE, we've been working on that RISE grant. We did submit an application for some safety improvement funds for that intersection that were due last Friday. It doesn't require anything from you guys. It's first just to see if we get it, and then if we do, then you guys get to decide if we want to do it or not. So we applied for some dollars there. We're going to be working on some other meetings that we need to set up as we start working on this grant. And my question to you guys was, I think you said it was going to be Steve, but I was just getting some clarification to make sure I was inviting whoever you guys wanted it. So if it's Steve, I will invite him to the meetings when we have it. But I just wanted to make sure you guys were all in the loop on that.
And this is for like Continental, where the
Correct,
expansion is
yep.
talking about, so everybody's aware of that. And then
Yeah.
we'll be working with Southeast Iowa Regional to help us facilitate.
Correct. Southeast
RISE
Iowa
grant,
Regional is
though.
going to help write the grant
Right.
and administer, because those are with the state RISE program.
Right.
And then we're going to try to link some other dollars to this project if we can get it all to work forward. So I just wanted to make sure, I'll send you an invite to the meeting that we have coming up in December here, so that if you're able to go to it. So
Sure.
I just want to make sure on the same case. So as long as you guys don't have any objections to that,
No,
that'll work.
because he's being representing the regional planning, I think it's only fitting that he goes to it.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds good. That's all I have, unless you got questions for me.
Have that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Robin, you are up on the school election.
This is just the second tier canvas for the surrounding counties that also, like our school districts will run it into the surrounding counties. So this is their votes. There is no tally. It's just specifying who got what vote in that county. This is a total, all it is. You guys need to sign when you look at it. Any questions that you don't have to answer? There's tallies in the back though. We don't have tally sheets from their machines because it's another county.
Okay.
They had to have our ballots to run in their county.
But the totals, do
The totals are all there,
Okay, but the totals are just for our county?
yes.
Yeah, okay. And then we did get that correction for.
Yeah, the
new
state
vendor.
did correct it again. It took a couple days, but we did correct it.
And they had several to correct, other counties, correct?
I don't know about other counties. I only know about our counties.
That were reversed or something?
Yeah, that's all it was. It was reversed on their end.
Yeah, because this is correct now.
Mm-hmm. I think it took 2 or 3 days to correct it.
Time now, because we only have to have one signed sheet, correct? I mean, the one
And then
complete
this.
packet.
You guys need to sign all this here.
Right,
But-
we just only need one.
Yeah, one packet, and I got the top.
So can we just move on with our?
Yes, you
agenda
can,
items
and then
come back to
afterwards,
that?
and I got certificates afterwards too,
All right.
All right,
for the winners.
moving on. We have a request to give support to ISAC, Iowa Association of Counties, on a legal brief that they're going to, probably to the Supreme Court, aren't they?
They anticipate this going to the Supreme Court. So what this actually started with was the CO2 pipeline in the northern tier of counties, the 2 counties up north, Worthing and Story. And when we had our convention back in August in Des Moines, those folks came up in our open discussion to talk about what was going on with CO2 in the pipeline, and there's a lot of discussion about it. So ISAC came in and said, hey, if you're interested, ISAC will provide legal representation and will support what the counties want us to do. So obviously the counties are concerned about eminent domain, specifically with the CO2 pipeline, but it carries over into other things because this goes back into local control. You know, counties have by law the ability to control their own destiny, and eminent domain overrides that. So this is really an effort for
ISAC, the Iowa State Association of Counties, to come together, pull all of the counties together to help support this Amicus brief, because we feel that it's probably gonna go to the Supreme Court. And so our $500 donation is going to help support ISAC in their representation of all 99 counties. And their effort here is to gather those dollars. They think they'll probably get about a 50% participation. But I think if you get more familiar with ISAC, we are very familiar with them, and they do a great job representing us. The IT audit that we just recently had is just one good example of all the support services they have. And then we start looking at the legal side of this. It does make a huge difference for us in the long run. And this comes back to what we've been talking about with wind or solar or battery or anything else that may impact us from a more local standpoint. So I did set through the webinar when it was initially out. Chad, I think you did as well, right? And anything from you on that?
No. To argue in front of the Supreme Court, you gotta have a certain set of credentials and all that hubbub and everything like that. ISAC will not be actually doing the argument, but they hired a Washington DC law firm out there that has agreed to take on the case for what, $25,000 or $26,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That have the proper credentialing and everything to argue in front of the Supreme Court. So,
and they've done it before. So
yeah, they've done it before and
go through the process.
For $500 to help support Iowa counties home rule authority, I think that is a good $500 spent.
So with that, I will entertain a motion that would authorize the auditor to submit immediately a $500 check to ISAC for this purpose.
I make a motion to support that. I think that we should move forward with the $500 contribution.
I would second that with the idea of it being immediate, because I think there was a deadline.
There was a deadline.
November 24th.
Of the 24th, so.
Any other discussion?
And Mark, you had some suggestions. We'll work with Rob on
Yeah,
where that
we'll
money
walk
comes
through
from.
with Robin, and I do not want to take it out of the capital improvement fund, either not out of the community betterment, but either out of the capital improvement or the economic development. I think the capital improvement would be the one, because that is money that we have received that is non-taxpayer money.
Okay.
So I think that's probably where we'll go from.
One of those two, capital improvement or economic development?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the community betterment is the money that we receive from Lost, and that is for the rural people only. So I think that the other one or two would be a better fit for us.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None.
But thank you.
Next on our agenda is a request for financial support for legal fees from Carlos Lopez.
Mr. Lopez.
You want me to come up or here?
Whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to come up here, or if you want to.
I'll just come up there because I got stuff with Angie as well.
And I did share with the board the packet of information you had given me.
Okay, you already all have a copy of
We
that?
have a copy of that.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
great.
So excuse me, I am gonna read from this just so that I don't miss anything, okay? So my name is Carlos Lopez, and I have proudly served as a deputy sheriff for the Henry County Sheriff's Office since March 3rd of 2020. Throughout my career, I have dedicated myself to serving the citizens of the Henry County with integrity, professionalism, and commitment to continuous improvement for my family, for the community, and for the victims I've sought justice for. In late 2023, Henry County Attorney Darren Sater falsely accused me of making false statements in an affidavit and subsequently placed my name on the Brady Giglio list for Henry County. This list, as many of you know, is synonymous with being labeled as dishonest or untrustworthy witness. On September 29, 2025, Judge Thomas Rydell ruled that in conclusion of my name on that list was improper and ordered that it be removed, and stated that it was an abuse of discretion from our county attorney. While Judge Rydell's decision has been a great relief, the damage to my career reputation and family has been profound. During my tenure, I have maintained a spotless disciplinary record and have served honorably. I'm the only deputy in recent history to have been involved in an officer-involved shooting that was wholly appropriate and worthy of meritorious commendment. I later became a school resource officer at the New London School District, where I initiated and led a county-wide project that provided bleed control kits for every classroom and every high-traffic area in all Henry County schools. I also provided Stop the Bleed and active attacker training to all participating schools. This is all work that I was proud to do to protect our children and our educators. The continued attacks against my integrity, my work ethic, and law enforcement as a whole only strengthened my resolve to advocate for change. I met with senators and legislators at the Iowa State Capitol and shared my experience. Each one of them expressed disbelief at how the Brady-Giglio process has been weaponized, used as an abuse of power other than a tool for justice. As a result of these efforts and those of others, there were changes made to Iowa Code ADF. They passed July 1st of 2024, specifically to prevent the kind of abuse and discretion identified in my case. These changes ensure that law enforcement officers do not suffer the hardship my family and I endured, and that decisions about officers and officers' futures are made by the justice system and not an unchecked discretion of a single county attorney. Unfortunately, after Mr. Sater, Mr. Sater contacted the New London Community School District legal counsel, and I was terminated from my position as an SRO for the New London School District. My shift was changed from days to overnights to limit my involvement in active cases as Henry County Attorney's Office began dismissing cases in which my name appeared, ultimately allowing these alleged criminals a free pass and seeking no justice for our victims. Furthermore, confidential transcripts and statements were released to the media in violation of Iowa Code ADF, which protects the confidentiality of such reports unless an officer consents in writing, which I did not. These actions further damaged my reputation and caused significant emotional and financial distress for my family. My wife and I support a family of 6, have incurred substantial legal expenses while fighting to restore my name and career. We have suffered mentally, emotionally, and financially throughout this ordeal. I'm therefore formally requesting that the county reimburse my attorney fees related to the legal proceedings that resulted in my exoneration and removal from the Brady-Giglio list. I do not seek retaliation or further division. I seek fairness, closure, and the opportunity for healing. It is time for county employees to refocus their energy on the actual serving of our community and restoring trust in our local government. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has supported me through this ordeal, especially my wife, who kept pushing me to fight. I'm not a perfect man, and I do fall short, as we all do, but I will continue to serve to the best of my abilities. In those packets, you will have the following: my attorney bills that have occurred, the court order removing my name from the Brady-Giglio list, page 29 of the ISAC manual for county supervisors of Iowa 2025 version, which states the board may compensate, adjust, or settle tort claims against the county, its officers, employees, and agents for damages under Iowa Code 670.2 or Iowa Code 670.8, may appropriate money for the payment of the amounts agreed upon Iowa Code 670.9. To date, we have incurred $28,405 in legal fees, and we have received approximately $7,200 in donations from friends, family, community members. I'm requesting that the difference is paid. And then that's the end of my speech there. And y'all all have a copy, correct?
We do, and the
I'd
difference
like
is.
to have the copy that you need for that, if I want. Sure. I'm sorry. Do you have another copy, please?
Yes.
What you just read.
Yep, so that's what I read, and then everything else. And
It's a
then,
little bit different than what you
Yeah,
provided to us.
different. So
yep,
you'll-
I added to the legislation. Do you need any more copies of it?
If
Because
you-
I have
Yeah, that's
3
fine.
copies.
Yeah, that's
all
great.
in total.
So again, what you're requesting in for the difference is $21,205, just for the record.
Yes. Do you have any other questions for me?
I'm sure we will.
Okay, all right.
No, this is the first actual formal request. We will not take action today.
Yes, sir.
We will we'll get back and put it on the agenda and we'll let you know ahead of time.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chad, is there anything you?
I'm like you, I wanted to write something down, it's easier to read it than it is to remember everything like that. With all the legalese talk and the discussions concerning Carlos Lopez, Henry County Attorney, Stater's case, many questions are created. The Board of Supervisors are comprised of lay persons not having alphabet soup letter credentials after our names or anything of that nature. We may not know all the intricacies of law, legal procedures and so forth, or privy to all the facts when initially given. So as a result, I have questions. A layperson does have the ability to apply a common sense measure to an issue. Since we, the Board of Supervisors, I'm speaking for myself, this is mine, not anybody else's. Since we, the Board of Supervisors, would normally rely on the county attorney's office for legal guidance and direction on matters, it is not possible in this case due to the connections that that office has with the case. It would seem that we are still in that dilemma of, you know, that separation of feelings and everything of that nature. The judge's ruling, it would seem that considering an impartial, out of the area district court judge reviewing the pertinent facts, hearing the arguments and examining the involved documentation in a closed court session, then taking all that information into consideration, he ruled to reverse the Brady Giglio listing on there. It seems like that would indicate that the process maybe is the seed to a whole mess of problems. With ethics and morals in mind, don't we as a county owe Deputy Lopez to be made financially whole by reimbursing him for the legal costs of clearing his name? I know that some of the law language says he has a right, the ability to have legal counsel at his own expense. But do we as a county want to wrongly drag somebody through a mud puddle and then not offer a cleansing shower afterwards if we're found wrong? So, I'm not fond of the idea of the county having to pay additional money out, but I think it's the right thing to do. There's some legal questions that still we got to work through, and but yeah, that's.
Amen.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
No, I think it's an unfortunate situation that has caused a great deal of strife throughout the county, and I think we need to work together to come to a resolution for this. But I would have to agree with Chad that the cause of the situation has created a continued amount of grief and financial burden, and somebody needs to be responsible for that. And we need to take that up and make sure that we understand. Working for the county does not put a financial hardship on those of us who choose to be employed by the county. Okay.
Thank you. I know that Mr. Dietrich will not be here next week.
Correct.
So I would think there'll probably be at least 2 weeks before we have brought it back up to our attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, Nathan Mills.
Yep, I just have the applications for Family Farm here, the ones that we're recommending approval, and then we do have some that we're saying should be disallowed. I'll leave them with you guys. If you have any questions on any of them individually, we can discuss it.
Any guidelines specifically, Nathan?
Yep, and open her up here, you'll see a flow chart on what qualifies for Family Farm and what doesn't. So if you come across one that you question, you can follow that chart. It'll.
Here you go, Rich.
So basically, to make it simplify it, if you own farm ground, if you own the farm ground and you're actively farming it, or a family member of yours is actively farming it, then you would be allowed this credit. It's Family Farm. It's really not that much of a credit, but if you're eligible for it, anybody out there, the deadline's November 1st for next year. So if if anybody's farming their farm and don't have that credit, they should come see us.
Is that a continuing thing year after year, you just sign up for it one time?
Just one time, yep. Yep.
If you're renting it out, does that count?
If you're renting it to a family member, I believe you're okay.
And you've adopted?
I'd have to look through the flow chart.
Same thing. There you go.
I believe as long as it's a family member, Mark.
Okay, I went,
Yeah, I believe you can, if you're,
okay,
as long as it's a family
can you
member.
be removed from it once you're signed up from it? And then that situations change.
And that's what, a lot of these, we saw deed transfers that had the family farm credit, so we sent the applications to them, asking if they were, if it was gonna be continued as a family farm. So that's why you have so many this year. Joanne has really done a lot, she dug on a lot of these, a lot of transfers that have happened, and, you know, they were getting the family farm, and we wanted to make sure they were still eligible for family farm credit because of the ownership change. So she sent out a bunch of these to people to make sure that, number one, people weren't getting the credit they should be getting the credit. And number two, if people should be getting the credit that weren't, we want them to get the credit, so.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll leave those with you. Subcommittees. I had none.
Nope, I got Mississippi Valley Friday.
I had, I've been working on 3, and I do have a Russ meeting tomorrow as well, so, we had a revolving loan trust fund teleconference the other day, and we talked to the local lending institutions about the concerns we had, who's engaged in being able to help with the revolving loan trust fund, so pretty much all of the financial institutions within Henry County have agreed to participate, which is a great opening. We've not had that opportunity specifically within the city of Mount Pleasant, so that tied into the credit unions as well. Unfortunately, they weren't on the phone with us, but they've agreed to participate, so that helps out a considerable amount when it comes to those revolving loans as well as the micro loans that we've talked about. Another couple of things that we're working on, I've had some help with this, but we've had some conversation last week when we talked about the boards and commissions for the county. We've got some openings coming up. Obviously, there's probably 10 or 12 openings coming up here in the next 30 plus days. So people that need to be appointed. So I'm gonna get that posted on the website. I see that the public health had done a really nice job of putting their opening on the website. So we're gonna post this as well so that people understand there are a number of openings throughout the different commissions throughout the county. So we'll get that posted and they'll go through that process as well. One thing I did want to pull up that we had talked about, Mark, is tying back into where we are with ARPA funds that I had talked about being on the agenda. And so this is that spreadsheet. And one of the things that Robin and I need to work together on here very closely is understanding where all these dollars are and how they've been allocated, because the spreadsheet's a little bit old. And it's extremely important to us because we're allocating the dollars, but Southeast Iowa Regional has to report these dollars to the U.S. Treasury Department. And as you can see here, we're a little bit behind schedule with some of the dollars that were allocated. You know, the very first one is a good example. So there are several in there that need to be updated. Probably we'll have to work together. I'm not quite sure how we do that, but you're the expert here, so I'll rely on you. And I talked to Mike Norris, and he said we'd get with Lori Gilpin and get this thing updated as quick as we can, because these are due to the Treasury by April. So the sooner the better.
Once a year, we report back to them with all the receipts that we have collected over the year to report them.
You're talking Southeast Iowa?
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently there's
And
a
I
gap
work
in
with
there
Lori
somewhere.
Giplin or.
Because obviously, we had allocated money to Mount Pleasant Child Care some time ago.
Well, they're still working on the
And that's
thing on it.
$250,000.
Susan Coffey was talking to them.
Okay, and obviously we already put, well, I got a mouse. Obviously, we already put in the county courthouse generator, so you know, there are a lot of things that we need to work through here. But again, it's $3.88 million, so it's a lot of money. So we need to make sure that we're really allocated and everything is substantiated and funded for that. So, and on that, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Public comment, Leland?
No.
Did you have your hand up?
No, a little bit about last week, you know, there was some dispute about what was said when I went up to the auditor's office November 3rd, and and I said what she said, and she said she never said that, and whatever. And if you were surprised that she had proof that she never said that, I can explain that. So when I gave her that last list of questions, I made a note on the top of that page detailing her conflict of statements. So she had time to gather up her proof and get her 2 witnesses lined up. But now that she said she didn't say what she said, she's back to being suspect number 1 for giving out a phone number of a friend to some anonymous woman that nobody knows of that just moved to town. Okay. So then, I dug out this letter from February that Bill and me got, and somebody gave that letter to us, expecting us to do something with it. And that's kind of an honor, I think, for us. We like to do that stuff. So anyhow, it starts out, for years the supervisors ignored the fact. And we're talking about Derek Wellington and all this overtime stuff. And yes, we can see that. Go back 20, 25 years and somebody gets caught collaring outside the lines, and it's game on. There's no standards, there's no nothing. It's just whatever feels good, take over. So anyhow, that's what we had for several years. The supervisors, they weren't real mindful about how they spent our money. Then here comes Chad White. And we think, okay, well, we're going to have an improvement here. But he's outnumbered 2-1. So he doesn't get very far. Then next year, we get Steve Dietrich. And now we think we struck gold. Chad's got an ally. We've got 2 supervisors now. So, we're pretty excited about that. Anyhow, then this anonymous letter comes up, and I just handed it off to you guys. So, going back to November 3rd, went up to the auditor's office, and another thing she told me was, she asked Chad White, and he said yes, she could pay overtime to Derek Wellington when he was in here on the night shift. And just a little bit ago, you're being concerned about how you're spending our money, and last week you're concerned about spending $1,000 on snow removal. This doesn't seem right, that you just tell her to spend whatever she wanted on overtime, but then, she's been caught handing out the money. So she needs somebody to put the blame on, and you're pretty good, because they want you removed, don't they? They were working on that. Then she also told me, she said, I do not have a problem with Mr. Dietrich. Well, he's the other one they want removed. So that's kind of interesting. Anyhow, okay, getting back to her October 16th statement, where she's scolding us, a couple back here in the back row, John and myself, for comments, making her department look bad, and then she puts that in the paper too. And I told her, I said, that's a personal attack on us. I got to respond to that. She said, oh, no, it wasn't about you. It was about somebody that put something on Facebook. So I don't know what the heck's going on, but I don't know if she does either. But anyhow, I do want to thank you 2 supervisors on the end for picking this up and doing your job and representing the people. I'm serious about that. Thank you, guys. I do have a question, though. So when Derek Wellington's in here on overtime that supposedly was approved, did anybody else get overtime pay that came in here to watch him while he was working in here? Because he didn't have security clearance. I'm just asking for a friend, okay? I don't know who else would have been in here, but outside of that, I'd suggest that anybody goes up to talk to Miss Dietrich to get the facts, take a tape recorder.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Couple things. One, I want to thank the supervisors for jumping in on the ISAC amicus brief. I think it's important that we protect home rule in Iowa. That's what county government is based on. So I think that's very important. Secondly, I would like to commend Deputy Lopez for standing for the truth. I commend him and his family for taking this burden on. as I've been involved in county government for the last 2 years as a spectator, I find it very interesting that a lot of the things that we've come against have been the way we've always done things. And so when we come against the way we've always done things, we get a lot of people that aren't real fond of our approach or our questions. And so it takes a certain person to stand up and say, what was done to me was wrong. I think as a community, Deputy Lopez and his family have a tremendous amount of support. And so I would encourage the supervisors, looking at a neighboring county, at Jefferson County, what has been done there, something very similar has happened. And to me, if we are expecting people to protect and serve us, whether we're serving as a deputy, whether we're serving as a supervisor, whether we're serving as an auditor, or whoever we're serving as, it's very important that we know that we have certain protections afforded to us and that it's not going to cause undue hardship to our families. I feel like Henry County kind of has a black eye. I've traveled around the state and spoken to people all over, and it's amazing how many people know of things going on in Henry County. So it's going to be hard to recruit people to serve here in a lot of different capacities if they are concerned with their personal attack on them or potentially a financial situation that could harm them. So I feel like it's the right thing to do. And I hope that this also kind of puts a stop to it. I think as we shine light on more things in this county, people that will do the right thing are being raised up. As you know, we had a prayer service on the courthouse lawn here a few weeks ago, and that's one of my prayers, is that people who are willing to stand up and do the right thing and speak out and shine light on things that have gone on for decades will stand up and be counted and serve. So thank you.
Anybody else? Bob?
Philosophy of the week. Behind every barrier, there lays a path. Every path has a light, however dim it might be. We're going down that path, and hopefully our light gets a lot brighter. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna?
I just want to note for the record that since these questions have come up, the county attorney's office has not been participating in these meetings. And that raises the question of why. Is he afraid of the public? I think that he may be. And I would also like to encourage everyone to go out and vote next year. They have a choice and they should vote. One way to hold him accountable is to vote him out of office. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Bill?
I'd just like to thank you, reiterate what Melanie said about supporting the ISAC and ISAC supporting the home rule. Also, on Carlos's case, there seems to always be a price paid for justice. In this case, justice is prevailing. So I would encourage you to, wherever the funds come from, that it's money well spent. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn until this afternoon, where we'll be going into a closed session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
For a second. You have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
As you can tell from today's video coverage, there were a lot of Henry County citizens in attendance today. Public comment was podcast gold, and I'll go out on a limb and say the whole coverage was podcast excellence. Thank you for watching. Make sure to give this episode a like, follow, and subscribe. It's free. Thanks to my sponsors, Griner Auto Body, Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Your Choice Family Restaurant, Girling Repair, B&B Propane, and the family of Jet Stops, CW Tree Trimming, LLC, Iowa Technology Systems, Junkin Sisters Holiday Shop Hop, December 5th and 6th, Dutch Market, and Coffee Talk. I'm your host, John Bain. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.